Hello, so what I want to do is show you today how to make these little light diffusers using Sketchup Free. They're kind of nice. They fit on top of the LED, as you can see here, and then diffuse the lights so you get a lot more uniform color. All right, and I've got a couple different ones here, and I'm going to show you how to make at least a couple of these different designs and let you just play with it and make your own design. But we're going to start with something super simple, which is just this cylinder here with a hole on the bottom that fits over the LED. And before we get started, we're going to make a couple of measurements. So just as a point of reference, for example, this guy is about 20 millimeters tall and about 20 millimeters wide. So I think that range is pretty good for making these diffusers. You can make it a little bigger, a little smaller, doesn't really matter too much, but stick in that general range. So let me get this out of the way. So what we want to do is we want to go to Sketchup Free. All right. And go ahead and click on it. Now, if it's the first time, you'll probably have to set up some kind of an account. I've already set it up. A lot of times you can just open it with your Google account, but you may have to set up some other account with your email address. So I'm going to go ahead and start modeling. Now, there's a good chance that the first time you do this, you're going to get a different screen than what you're going to see with me, I imagine. This is probably going to open up to my default directory. And let's get this going. It's not the fastest software, but it works pretty well when it's up and running. I should say that we're going to be using 5 millimeter LEDs, or 5 in diameter. So therefore, we have to accommodate that size for the hole that goes in it. So I'm going to create new, and our printers all work in the millimeters. You should get used to it anyway. So I'm going to make a new simple template in millimeters. There's a good chance that it was the first time you opened it up. You've got this screen anyway, but it's useful to make sure that's in the right units. You can just click on this right here and then click here again and set it to millimeters just to be certain that we're not dealing with feet and inches. And the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this lady here. Now, I want to start by making this cylinder as I've shown you, something like this. Okay, and SketchUp is a little weird on one aspect, and you'll see it in a second. So here's my tools, and I'm going to take the circle drawing tool. I'm going to go ahead and it should snap to origin. See how it just snapped right on it? I'm going to click it in the center, click. I'm going to drag it out. Now, well, and click anywhere I want. Now, what's odd is normally you'd be tempted to come down here and click, okay, to highlight it, but you don't. You don't touch anything except your keyboard. I've clicked it, and now I'm going to type in here 10, because it's the radius. That'll give me a diameter 20. And hit enter, and that should give us the circle that we want. Now I can use the scroll wheel and zoom in, or if I click here, I can get the zoom to extents, and that's going to auto center us and make it a good working size. I'm going to show you this. Notice how in this case it is in fact a circle, but it's made of edges. We can select that number of straight edges, but for this moment we're going to leave it in its default mode, which I think was 24. If you hit this icon here, you can find it right here at the top. That allows you to move around, okay, so you can take a look at it. And by the way, you can get to that exact same thing by simply hitting the O on the keyboard, which puts it into the orbit mode. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it into a cylinder. So in this case, I've selected this tool, the push pull, which I can also access by typing P. And if I hover, you can probably see that it has highlighted the surface. It's full of small dots. I'm going to pull it up some. I don't even care how much, because now I'm going to type in without selecting anything. I'm just going to type in 20 and enter. And now I have a cylinder with a diameter of 20 and a height of 20. Okay. I'm going to use my scroll wheel on my mouse to zoom out. I'm going to select the O orbit just to kind of look at it. And yes, indeed, I have a cylinder. I'm going to bring this guy up to look at the bottom, because I need to make that hole in the bottom for the LED. Remember, it's about 5. It's a little less than 5, actually, if you measure it with a caliper. But keep in mind that it's the filament is not infinitely thin, so we can't draw a perfect 5 millimeter hole because the filament has some thickness. We're going to be extracting our filament into a 0.4 millimeter nozzle, so therefore you can assume that there's at least 0.2 on one side of that center line and another 0.2 on the other side, so in total is 0.4. And if we accommodate 0.2 on both sides of that center line, we should probably add 0.4 to our measurement so that we actually get a hole that's big enough. All right. So I'm going to click this, the circle again. I'm going to bring it in. Now, you can click the edge and it helps to snap it. In this case, I'm also on the origin. And I'm going to drag it. And I'm going to click it anywhere. It doesn't matter because I want to put the radius in. I'm shooting for a 5.4 diameter, which means that I need a 2.7 radius. Click it. And now I can take that push-pull tool by hitting P. I can push this, and I just begin to push it in a little bit, whatever it might be. It's not going, there we go. That's not deep enough. And this LED is, I should hook up the caliper. It's actually about 0.9. So I'm going to type in 0.9, hit enter. Oops, that didn't work very well. I meant to hit 9. So I'm going to Control Z. All right, I'm going to push pull, and I want to go in 9 millimeters. Okay, 0.9 centimeters. And using the orbit tool by O, you can see that I have now made a cylinder. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is save it. And it's going to save to my directory. And then we need to, I'm going to put it in my SketchUp directory. And actually, I'm just going to, I'll make another cylinder too. All right, save. And this is important because we can't actually read this SketchUp file with the 3D printer. We have to save it as a stereolithic file. So I am now going to go here and go to export, and I want to export it as an STL. All right, and then it's going to pop up down here in your downloads. Okay, so there it is. So let me pause this and get another thing set up, and we'll work on another shape real quick. Okay, this time I'm going to show you how to make something like this lampshade with the flutes on it to show us a couple other cool techniques. Let me get this out of the way very quickly. I'm going to start again with a circle. I'm going to make it 10, so I get a radius of 20. I'm going to zoom to extents. Again, I've left it with 24 sides. I'm going to go ahead and push-pull it up. 20. All right. Zoom out. And now orbit a little bit. I'm going to show you now over here. We can change what we see a little bit. I'm going to click on display because I want to see the hidden geometry. All right. So these are those individual pieces. And I can push-pull these pieces. So if I pull that out, I'm going to pull it out 2. Okay, so I hit 2 and then enter. And if I double click, it will repeat the same action over and over again. So I'm going to go to orbit. I'm going to spin around. I'm going to hit P for push-pull. And O for orbit. And P for push-pull. Almost done. All right. So now I've got the basic start of this object. So next thing I want to do is I want to scale this top. So I'm going to go over here and click on the scale. And it's going to click on the scale. I want to scale this surface. Now if I hold down the control key, it's going to force it to scale to center. You'll see a thing light up. So I'm going to push this in while holding in the control key. All right. And now I've made it sort of a conical shape. I'm now going to go back over here to this icon because what I want to do is I give a little twist. I'm going to click the rotate. I'm going to click on this surface. I'm going to click off to the side so I can kind of create a handle. I clicked, and now I'm just going to rotate it a bit, like so. Okay, and now I'm going to hit the orbit tool, spin it upside down, and I'm going to then click the circle, put it in the center, drag it out anywhere I want, type in 2.7, hit enter, and now I'm going to use the push-pull tool, and as soon as the thing gets ready, come on, and I'm going to push it in a little bit, and then I'm going to hit 9, and it's going to go in 9 millimeters, and voila, I've made a cool fob for diffusing the light. Okay, so I'm going to save this, and I'll be right back and export it. I'll export this one first. I'm going to go here. I'm going to export as STL, and then of course I can export it and save it as an appropriate name. So let me, oops, that's actually going to default to the Untitled because I should have named it first. But you go ahead and name it, save it, then export it. Let me pause this and I'll get something else set up. Alright, so let's make another cool design. This case I'm going to start with a square. I'm going to click it in origin, drag it out anywhere, it doesn't really matter. And I want to make this 20 by 20. So I type in 20, 20, enter. Alright, and that gives me a square, which I zoom in on. I'll take a look at it. And then I'm actually going to work on this a little bit. You'll notice it has snaps, so it'll automatically like to find, like, for example, the center of a line. And I'm drawing something. I'm going to just divide this up more and more. There we go. I don't know if that found midpoint, but that's okay. We're just going to kind of do something quick because we don't have much time left. All right. And now I'm going to go from the center of these lines to the out to the edge. Oh, this is going to look very funny. I should be spending longer finding the centers, but I think you got the idea. All right. So I've created a kind of a cool pattern. I'm going to quickly delete chunks of this, like so. And then I'm going to go around and delete some of these other lines. I'm going to pause. Well, let's see. I can do this, I think. All right. We're going to grab the push-pull. We're going to pull it up 20, like so. Zoom out a bit. Let me grab the scale. Hold down the control key, push it in, make a little pyramid-like thing, and sure, let's go ahead and give it a spin. Let's try that again. Give it a spin. And there you go. Okay, yet another shape. So I think it's probably the end of my time, and the next video I'll show you how to get these converted into printer files. I will see you soon.